All right, the 2024 NFL regular season has come to a close, and it's time to make our playoff and Super Bowl predictions. And here to help me make some picks, a fellow content creator and a football enthusiast, the world famous. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Hey, thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome. This is something I like to do, and so I want to get into the playoffs here and see if we can become the prognosticators.
Something like that. I think of myself more as a football enthusiast. I think I might have the answer, so we'll see, right? You got roasted by some of your commentators earlier in the season when you made your picks, and I had to kind of laugh because especially your Baltimore Raven fans, but they did not like the fact that you had Pittsburgh as good as it did. And, if it weren't for, the end season collapse, they might have had 11 or 12 wins. But on some of those picks, you did pretty darn good. We won't talk about the Browns.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the Browns. I was watching they had for the last 6 weeks, the strength of schedule, and Pittsburgh had the number one hardest schedule for the last 6 weeks. And it showed, right? They did kind of collapse there at the end. But anyways, they made the playoffs, so anything can happen now, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's a new season, right? Everybody starts 0-0 if you made it this far.
All right, let's go ahead and let's jump into the AFC side. We know Kansas City's got the number one seed at 15-2. And then we've got the Chargers that snuck in. They're number 5 seed now, and they're playing the number 4 seed Houston in Houston. So what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, as someone that owned CJ Stroud during the fantasy football season, I can tell you that there was a precipitous decline once he had lost the wide receivers. Once Stephon Diggs, once Tank Dell, the receiving core was just shattered. They have a good defense, but I have no faith in their offense. So I'm going with the Chargers all the way, probably by 10 points.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Justin Herbert is a top-tier quarterback. J.K. Dobbins, I know him from being in the AFC North with the Ravens, and he is just a hard runner when he's healthy, and he's tough to bring down. And I think Harbaugh's got that team fired up. So I agree with you. I think the Chargers are going to move on. I'm not going to pick points, but I'm just going to say the Chargers are going to win this one, and Houston is going to go home. So the next game coming up, we've got Pittsburgh 10-7 is the 6th seed against Baltimore in Baltimore. So what are you thinking here?
I know you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
That's okay. Don't hold back.
Say, in a couple months, you've got the draft to look forward to. So I'm gonna pick the Ravens handily. Pittsburgh might stick around for a quarter or two, but it's really difficult to beat that offense.
Yeah,
and especially the way Pittsburgh's been playing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same mindset. I mean, Pittsburgh's got the number 8 defense and the number 16 offense, and that's not good against the Ravens, especially when you're playing somebody like Lamar Jackson, who is an MVP candidate this year. You've got King Henry running the ball there. I mean, that was a crazy pickup they did in the offseason, which really wasn't good news for me. But I think they're just playing lights out football too.
Yeah, TJ Watt can only do so much.
Yeah, and it's gonna be something weird. If Pittsburgh's gonna win, it's gonna take some kind of defensive stand or some kind of mistakes from Lamar to really push the Steelers along. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. But hey, it is also a divisional opponent, so we also know that divisional opponents, anything can happen.
Right, absolutely.
So we'll see. I'll be pulling for the Steelers, but I think the Ravens are going to pull this one out as well. All right, so we'll get into the last game on the AFC side is Denver, the number 7 seed against Buffalo, our number 2 seed. And this is going to be a great game, I think. I think you've got Bo Nix, who is playing insane right now, and you've got Josh Allen, who's a potential MVP candidate as well. They both match up pretty well. Denver's got the number 3 defense against Buffalo's number 2 offense, and Buffalo's got a number 11 defense going against the Denver number 10 offense. So I'm thinking the Bills and their experience are going to pull this one out. What do you think there?
Yeah, I agree. As much as the coaching and rookie and exuberance on Bo Nix's part, that's only going to go so far. And they do have a good defense. I mean, I think to your point, it's going to be an exciting game. I think the first half is going to be up and down. But come third quarter, late third quarter, fourth quarter, I think Buffalo's experience, the quarterback, the veterans on that team are just going to pull it through.
Yeah, I think honestly it's probably going to come down to a game-winning drive, maybe by Josh Allen. I think Denver's defense is good enough, and they've got Patrick Surtain the second. There might be an interception here or there from Allen that'll keep the Broncos around, but I think Allen will pull it out in the end. So the next matchup would be in the divisional round, right? It would be Kansas City against the Chargers.
I'm never going to bet against Kansas City. As long as Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are there, they're going to win. I don't care who they play. They could lose in the Super Bowl, but I still wouldn't bet against them.
Well, I'm going to buck the trend. I'm taking the Chargers here, only because Kansas City has been skating through, winning these super close games. Something has got to give, and I think Kelsey's been a little bit off. Mahomes has been a little bit off. I think they're due for a loss, and it's going to be another divisional opponent, right? With the Chargers, and I just think the Chargers are going to peak. They're peaking at the right time to take the Chiefs down.
Yeah, I think when the wheels fall off of Kansas City, they're going to fall off hard, but that week's not the week.
All right. So the second game in the divisional round would be Baltimore and Buffalo.
That is an exciting game. Both teams, have made it to the AFC Championship game, have not eclipsed into the Super Bowl. I'm probably going to go with Buffalo there, but that may be the closest matchup in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think, again, both MVP candidates are playing in this game. It's going to be awesome to watch. I think Henry running the ball is going to be good. Buffalo, the number 2 offense, and Baltimore is number 3. So, I mean, that's going to be probably a high-scoring game. But I agree with you. I think Buffalo, Josh Allen's been there. He's got the chip on his shoulder. I think he wants it. I feel Buffalo is going to probably pull this one out as well. So that leaves us to the championship game. You've got Kansas City going against Buffalo in a rematch. I've got the Chargers and Buffalo.
Well, once again, I'm gonna ride with Patrick Mahomes. It may be smoke and mirrors, but good quarterbacks, crafty. I would say at his age of his career, he's becoming a little more crafty. Mm-hmm. You don't have the physical, attributes that you did 10 years earlier. Andy Reid still got the magic of the walrus mustache. I am going to go with the Chiefs all the way through.
All right. Well, I've got the Chargers against the Bills in the championship game, and I'm going to take Buffalo because, again, I think Josh Allen, he wants to get there. He's got the drive this year, and I think Buffalo's due. They've lost, four Super Bowls in a row, and that's the 80s, that kind of 90s actually. But I think they're due. That town is due, and I think Josh Allen's got the drive to get them there.
Yeah, as long as their kicker's not named Norwood, they've got a chance.
So that finishes up the AFC. Let's go ahead and dive into the NFC here. Detroit is the number 1 overall seed. They've got 15-2 record. And then the Rams are number 4 seed, playing the Minnesota Vikings, the number 5 seed. I can't believe 14-3 team is the number 5 seed, but that's where we're at now. So what do you think?
Well, I normally go with quarterback and coach, and then kind of move on from there as kind of my tiebreakers. In that kind of scenario, potentially potentially the Rams, but it's really hard, especially with injuries, to cover Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and Aaron Jones, it becomes a mismatch. So it becomes, what offense can score more. This is going to be a tight game because I think if the Rams wide receivers, if they stay healthy for the game, it's going to be really tight, and they're very injury prone, so they're one hit away from going down. I'm going to go with Minnesota by hair.
So the X factors for me are number one, Sam Darnold, right? Here's this guy trying to resurrect his career. Is he for real? Is he going to collapse at any time? We don't know. He's done a great job during the season for sure, but it's a prove it league, right? So here he is in the limelight. Let's see how he stands up to the test. And then the other one is the Rams. Both their offense and defense are in the bottom half of the league. So I don't know that if Darnold can keep it together well enough with all those weapons around him, I don't think there's anything the Rams can do to slow down that offense. And that's the Rams. I haven't been really impressed with the Rams all season. They've been in the NFC West, kind of languishing around with the rest of these guys, and it's almost like the NFC South, right? Who's going to lose enough to lose the division, not who's going to win the division. So I'm taking Minnesota here as well. Our next game is going to be Tampa Bay, number 3 seed, taking on Washington, the number 6 seed. Jaden Daniels and Baker Mayfield Magic, right? So what are your thoughts on this game?
I like Jaden Daniels. I think he is, a very promising quarterback. He certainly looks like the quarterback of the future there. But unless you're the guy, when a quarterback starts and you're like, wow, this guy is going to be the MVP someday. The jury's out on that first playoffs. Kind of like Bo Nix, the magic's going to end when they see, just an incredible defense, and Tampa's got some pieces in there, Villa, and some other guys in their defense. I think I'm going to give the edge to Baker. I know, he's been there for a few years, but the guy, the guy ended up on the Panthers, for a year. And in fact, Sam Darnold was on that team. Which is funny, it says a lot more about the Panthers than it does about the other teams. But I just give the edge to Baker. He's a gamer. What else to say?
Yeah, he's definitely exciting to watch. And I think the other thing they have going for him in Tampa is Mike Evans. I mean, that dude is just incredible. He can flat out play. 11 years with 65 plus catches and 11 years straight for 1,000 yards receiving. I mean, that is phenomenal. And I think Jaden Daniels is a really good quarterback. He is last year's C.J. Stroud, maybe not quite as good, but I think that inexperience getting to the playoffs is going to hurt him. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay here as well. And then we get to Philadelphia against your Green Bay Packers. Your Packers come in at the number 7 seed, right? And Philadelphia comes in at number 2.
Well, this game is a sequel to the first game of the season where they had to play in that swamp in Brazil, and just the field was awful during that game. So I don't know what you want to take from it, but it was a very close game. It was a pretty well matched game, and I'm going to maybe go on a limb and say that the Packers hold Saquon Barkley to under 100 yards. But Jalen Hurts also has one of his better passing days because I know they're going to key on him. Yeah. And he may run for a little bit too. I think their defense can slow him down considerably. What Green Bay's got going for them is an incredible run game. But there's just too many holes in that team. And, Toyotathon is over for Jordan Love. And for those that don't know what Toyotathon is he plays like Joe Montana during Toyotathon, which is the month of December, from when it starts to when it ends. And Toyotathon is over. Yeah. So he did not look good last week, and he did not look good the week before. So I'm going to say the Eagles win it by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Eagles came into the season. They were a pretty good favorite to get to the Super Bowl, anyways. The big question I have in Green Bay is, well, you've got Christian Watson out because he tore his ACL. He's done for the year, and Love and Malik Willis both dinged up. Now, and they're speculating on how much practice they're going to get into, and that's probably a little bit of a smoke screen too. But I don't know what they can do with a banged up offense. They've got some run game there for sure. I think Saquon is definitely a good player, and he might not rush for 100 yards, but he's going to also be in the receiving game as well. And that's where I think he'll pick up some of that yardage. I mean, he's a good yards after catch runner. If they can get him in space and a little screen here or there over the middle or something like that, he'll be dangerous as well. So I'm going to take Philadelphia here as well. So that gets us into the second round, our divisional round. The Lions are going to play the Vikings.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Lions in this discussion. Usually it's the Packers and Vikings. Yeah, I think this is going to be an easy game for the Lions to win. And the Lions are certainly the cream of the crop in the NFC. They're well coached, other than the fact that Dan Campbell runs them till they're literally nothing but, broken bones and sinew left. But besides that, the team's behind him. They've got a quarterback. They're just a full, well-rounded team. And I think that's where Darnold is really going to struggle.
Yeah, I agree. I think they just played, just another week or so ago, and the Lions just embarrassed them. I mean, it was crazy. So, again, you got another divisional game here, right? And divisional opponents. The Lions, they have lost a lot of players to injury over the year. They did get back that Alex Anzalone, their linebacker, and I think that made a huge difference. They're loaded on offense, and Dan Campbell is probably my favorite coach in the NFL just because of his fire and enthusiasm. And he's going to have them guys doing everything they can, including biting kneecaps if they have to win that game. And I think they're going to come out on top. I think it's probably going to be 2 scores here because, like you said, I mean, there's just too much. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's an incredible runner as well. It's nice to see them winning as much as they are since, when Barry Sanders played, they could not get past the first round, it seemed like, So I'm happy for them.
Are you stating that Wayne Fontes and Rodney Peete aren't a world-class organization right there?
I'm saying that Dan Campbell and Jared Goff are a tier above, that's all. They might be world-class, but
they're certainly a tier above Wayne Fontes.
All right, our second matchup from the divisional round would be Tampa Bay at Philadelphia.
Boy, that is a tough one. I don't see either one of them going to the Super Bowl, but I can see this as a tough match as I'm kind of thinking about the chess match of, you've got Saquon going into a pretty solid defensive line. I'm going to say Philadelphia. I think they've got more pieces in place. Yeah. They drafted 2 studs in their secondary. They've got Jalen in the middle. And I think Jalen Hurts, the other Jalen, isn't going to do anything to lose the game. I think there's enough pieces in play there that they're just going to eventually overtake Tampa.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're a more complete team. Tampa Bay's defense is number 16 in the league, and I think that's going to hurt them down the stretch here. So I can't imagine they're going to stop all of the Philadelphia weapons they've got. So I think Philadelphia is the winner there as well. So that takes them to the championship game with the Lions.
I guess I don't see as close of a matchup as maybe other people do. I think the Lions handily beat them. It's just, I think when you talk about complete team, coaching, quarterback, if they can stop Saquon, which I think they can, that's the only X factor I can see at that point.
Yeah, I think the Lions will win this game as well. I don't know that it's going to be 2 scores or not, but I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I mean, you got 15-2 going against 14-3. I mean, they've got to be in the same ballpark at least of talent. But I think you're right. I think the Lions just have too much, and that's the key is they got to stop Saquon. So I think they're going to do it. So that's going to put Lions in the Super Bowl. On the other side, you've got Kansas City. Now, this is the Super Bowl, so your previous statement of always backing the Chiefs, until they get to the Super Bowl, it's kind of out.
Yeah, I'm still picking the Chiefs.
Three in a row. You're going to pick them for the three-peat.
Yeah, if you're a gambler and you bet against Patrick Mahomes, good luck. You'd be living in a cardboard box somewhere. I can see scenarios where the Lions win this one.
Yeah.
But overall, I think Kansas City has been here. A lot of their team has done it before. They just know how to win. And sometimes you look at it and you go, how did they do it? How did they cobble together? Good teams and good quarterbacks find a way to win. I think of Peyton Manning, his last Super Bowl, and he was literally, they had to cart him out in a mobility scooter like he was riding on one of those rascals, and he still, he didn't have a great game, but found a way to win. And good quarterbacks that have been here before, they know what it takes to get that 1, 2, 3 point win.
Well, I've got Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl, and I think the Lions are going to pull it out. I think it's their year. I think they were close the last couple of years. They were just missing a few things here and there, and it seems like Campbell's got this team playing, man. He wants them to win, and I think they've bought into what he's selling, and they're going to pull it out. So I'm going with the Lions. So that puts us all the way through the Super Bowl.
I feel like I get a pat on the back here.
Well, I appreciate your time, Ryan. Thanks for checking in with us. Thanks for giving us your insight, and I guess we'll have to wait and see, right?